Alright traders, well good afternoon. It's just coming up to 2 p.m. here in the UK and today is the 6th of June 2022. So we start with the cryptocurrency heat map here, and you can see that the great majority of it is in the green, and we're nearly 5% up today on Bitcoin and over 5% on Ethereum. And there's a few here in the double digits such as Avalanche and Cardano. So overall it's looking like a healthy little retracement here, a little sort of run to the highs if you like. But we are currently at resistance. We'll have a look at that in just a second. So the cryptocurrency heat map looking pretty good. The stock heat map not so good. It looks very much in the red, which is directly the opposite of what was going on last week on Friday when I did the last TA update, where basically crypto was in the red and the stocks were all in the green. So actually, let me just double check here that everything's working. The image is working, and the sound seems to be working. That's all right then, so I'm not just waffling on to myself. So let's crack on. What have we got in the calendar? I've got a couple of important dates here on the calendar, and you guys can see basically what I'm highlighting here is this here on Friday. This is an important one, the CPI, right, which is around about 1:30 p.m. on Friday, the 10th of June. These could definitely cause a little bit of volatility, or a lot of volatility depending on what comes out of that. And the other potential volatile event that could happen is in the form of the ECB, the European Central Bank here. In fact, it's these two events, so around about 12:30 to 1:30, which is the monetary policy statement to come out of the European Central Bank. Now, what that means really is just they're hiking interest rates as well, just like the Fed is doing, and that will affect the euro. And there's also quite a few talks going on in crypto, quite a lot going on in crypto in the finance world that's not really shown on this calendar. So I'll just highlight it for you. You can see here on Tuesday there's a Senate hearing on crypto's role in ransomware payments. So this is to do with crime. There's also the Bloomberg Technology Summit. That's on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. Wednesday, nothing really special going on there. Thursday is the ECB, European Central Bank rate decision. Again, that could be a potential volatility there. And then there's also a House hearing on terrorism and cryptocurrency, and basically just goes back onto the ransomware payments and how the narrative is that cryptocurrency is used for nefarious purposes and whatever. Nothing new. It's the same shit that they were trying to do back in 2017, 2018. Consensus 2022 is starting as well on Thursday. If you look back at the consensus date, which I think it was March, maybe May 2018, you can see that was a shit fest. It was a massive dump. So we don't know what's going to happen, but the Fidelity CEO is also talking at 9 o'clock. And if you don't know what Fidelity is, research Fidelity and Peter Lynch, and you'll get a good idea of who Fidelity is. It's only one of the biggest money funds in the whole world, and Peter Lynch was historically perhaps the biggest stock picker of all times. You know, the most famous one anyway. The guy just had a knack for picking the right stocks, and even in the middle of massive recessions, he had Fidelity going on 20-30% wins. So basically, anyway, that's happening on Thursday. So again, Thursday we could see a little bit of volatility because of the ECB, and then obviously consensus is happening, so there could be a few little random pumps or whatever, especially as they start doing talks on particular shitcoins or whatever. So there might be a particular audience that decides to all buy this particular coin or whatever. So we could see a little bit of volatility, but nothing really interesting. For me, Friday is the one, which is the CPI. And again, we've got like the UK Treasury, and we've got on consensus basically all these people talking, right? So including Edward Snowden on Saturday and CZ from Binance as well. But consensus is going to be a big one this year. I'm not entirely sure if that means pump or dump. It really doesn't fucking matter. You should just really be looking at the charts. However, this is just to anticipate volatility. So Thursday and Friday are big ones in that respect. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's move on to the charts. And we start with the S&P. Let's have a look at where we are with the S&P. Still exactly in the same fucking place that we left it on Friday, except we're not at the lows now. We're kind of like halfway through the range. And it's basically just ranging, as you can see here. I'll put it on the bottom right hand corner. You can see this little 4-hour chart here, highlighted in purple. You can see that basically we're just going from resistance to support, and then just going again back to resistance. But there's, you know, order blocks and other things that happen in the process, such as VWAPs and etc., that keep us down, and you know, and also some news and whatever. But anyway, regardless of that, we are just ranging, and we are still above that $4,000 level. Okay, which is, sorry, 4,000 point level, not dollars. 4,000 point. Basically, the 4,000 is a big mark, because it's it's two distributions here, right? So you've got this volume distribution here, and then you've got this volume distribution, which arguably you've got like a triple distribution going on there. But regardless of that, we are now well and truly inside this volume distribution here, right? So let's fucking change this again. It's pissing me off. And as such, this area here, the low volume node, should be acting as support. So as long as we are above that, then it's all good, right? There's a strong chance that we come here at resistance and at least try and break above that resistance. It really depends if this was just a bear market rally and we've got no legs to go up, and so we'll do a slowly bleed to the downside, or if this is a turning point and the markets have spoken and this is basically as low as it's going to get here. We don't know that. The only way that we could decide that is basically if we can break above the current level of resistance. Okay, you can see here that this is a big low volume area as well, and this will be the next area of balance. So if price breaks above here, okay, this will be the next resistance. Okay, so I expect the price to be ranging here. However, that's, you know, wishful thinking. Let's see first if we can break above this level of resistance at round about 4,200 points. So at the moment, it's just ranging. There's fuck all happening, and it's just no point of trying to guess. This is on the 4-hour chart. You know, I could do a quicker analysis, you know, a short time frame analysis or whatever. But we are at the range highs of the value of the weekly value area high. Okay, so we're right at the value area high of the weekly VWAP. Okay, we are above the value area low of the yearly VWAP, and we are currently struggling with a quarterly VWAP here in this circle on the top right hand corner, right? You know, it doesn't really mean much to you guys probably, and it really doesn't fucking matter because it's just the S&P. I'm just trying to keep an eye on, is this shit gonna dump or is this gonna fucking pump, right? That's basically all it matters, because at the end of the day, we're kind of correlated with this shitty market, right? With the traditional markets. So what we want to know is this going to affect any technical analysis that we're going to do on Bitcoin, yes or no? Well, at the moment we're just ranging, so probably not, right? So we are above support, we are below resistance, just fucking range, right? So that's all I've got to say on S&P. On the Nasdaq is very much the same thing, right? We are above this low volume node. Let's start with the higher time frames here. We are above this low volume area here, low volume node or whatever you want to call it, right? We are above this edge here, which is an edge of a high volume cluster here, right? You can argue again that this is all just one big cluster, but it's definitely got a triple distribution going on there, right? So this here is support, this here will be resistance until proven otherwise, okay? Note how this low volume node inside of that, right, is right on the value area low of the 2021 VWAP on this, right? That's the VWAP close, value area low, value area high. That's the second standard deviation, which is basically where we've bounced from. We're now trying to find acceptance inside the value area low of the developing year's VWAP, and the next level of resistance will be that low volume node, which also has confluence with, let me just delete all of that shit again so that you can see it clearly. You can see here, right, that little line there, right, around about 13,200 points. All right, so that's basically the next level of resistance, and you could just you don't even have to have a VWAP like this. You can literally just look at the volume profile, right, and you can see, okay, there's a low volume area here, there's a low volume area here. The price is likely to distribute and start sort of rotating inside of those two, inside of the balance area. Okay, so if we can break above this, then we go on to the next balance area, which is this one here. If we break below this one, then I think this is the line in the sand down here, right? And I think we've got a very good chance of getting acceptance inside of this range, which then means that we'll be all the way down there. If we find ourselves down here, you can fucking bet your money that Bitcoin will go down with it, okay? Because these assets are still very closely correlated, okay? Regardless of what people say, if you look at it on the 5 minutes, it's probably not correlated. If you look at it on the 4 hour, it is fucking correlated. And even though sometimes the market is leading, right? So sometimes you do see that. So let me just show you and prove that, just so that you don't think I'm just talking out of my ass. So let's just add here like Bitcoin, and I'm going to take the no scale, right, and I'm just going to mute everything else, including these trend lines. So now you can see the clear chart, and I'm going to put this as a blue line, right? So there you go. Bitcoin is the orange line. The Nasdaq is the blue line, right? Do you see how closely correlated it is? Yes, there are fucking discrepancies, right? So we pumped here whilst the fucking market was going down on Bitcoin, right? There was no appetite to buy it. Then once the market rallied and held up there, Bitcoin suddenly, boom, jumped, right? So then there's a little retrace. Bitcoin retraces as well. There's a pump. Basically just rotating sideways here back to the highs on the Nasdaq, and there's a little fart here on Bitcoin, and then it comes back to the lows again. And as the Nasdaq starts going up, so is Bitcoin, and it's looking a little bit more strong, okay? But we're still below that fucking level of resistance, and that is the same case here for the Nasdaq. So what does that fucking mean? It means it's still fucking correlated. Don't believe anything you fucking hear online, right? It's still fucking correlated. We've not depegged at all, and it's still the same shit. And for as long as the big dogs continue to invest in Bitcoin, this is what we can expect. This is just a fucking shit show for Bitcoin, because basically it's just following the traditional finance. But anyway, enough waffling and moaning. I'm just going to move on straight to the Bitcoin chart. So let's start here with the 3-day chart. You can see today I'm in a fucking good mood, aren't I? Just keep swearing. I do apologize about that. I'm just swearing, and I'm in a bit of a sort of rushed mood, so I don't mean anything by it. But anyway, if you don't like it, you can fuck off. Go and watch fucking, I don't know, what's his name? Crypto or whatever. Anyway, where are we? Basically, we have bounced on the second standard deviation of the yearly VWAP, right? We are now above the second standard deviation of the developing years of VWAP, right? Next level of resistance will be this one here, right? Which is around about $33,000, $34,000. Okay, so on the 3-day chart, that's what we're seeing right now. If we do go up, that's the next level of resistance. However, if I put this on the weekly chart, it becomes a little bit clearer about one particular thing that I highlighted to you guys on Friday. Okay, so I've highlighted here an order block. This is basically the lowest down candle before the impulse way back in July 2021. Right, so that's basically an order block, and it's a weekly order block as well, so it carries some weight. And you can see that it carries some weight in the means that when we came back down and we retraced the whole of that pump, of that impulse, if you like, we bounced there quite a few times, right? 3 times at least on the weekly here. Okay, so that was basically demand, right? We've lost that level now. And demand can become supply, meaning support can become resistance, right? So is this basically just a reset or a retest even of that resistance now? Look, we've been rejected here. And now, even though we are just getting a little bit closer to the highs there, we're still getting rejected. I mean, we're still just retesting. So unless we can break above this level here, 34,000, 35,000 or whatever, there's no bull run. Okay, there's no fucking, it's not going to 100k, it's not going to 40k, because this order block here is resistance until proven otherwise. Break above this, and I think we've got other levels of resistance. We've got the yearly VWAP here, we've got a low volume node around about 42k, and you can even argue that there's a on this point of control, we've got the 2021 VWAP close at 47,000. There's no point of looking at all these fucking levels because we've just lost a level of support and now we're basically back testing it, okay? 9 times out of 10, this is fucking resistance and we're going to go down, right? That's on the higher time frames, and I don't want to be like the ominous, I'm happy to be proven wrong, right? I'm not trying to be the fucking ominous of doom or whatever, that's it, we're going to fucking zero. No, we're not going to fucking zero, but that's what I'm saying. This is resistance until proven otherwise, okay? So that's on the weekly chart here. On the 3-day chart is very much the same thing. We're kind of just still toying with the idea of resistance. The only thing that is a little saving grace that I've got that I can see here on Bitcoin is that basically this high volume cluster here, right? We're kind of still toying with the lower edge of that. So if we are to break above the levels of resistance that I'm going to show you now on the lower time frames, then there's a very strong chance that we enter this level here, basically the high volume cluster, and we travel all the way to the other side, as in the laws of the auction market theory of balance, basically dynamics of balance, and we could go and firm up balance by visiting the other side of it. Okay, the only thing that can disturb that is the point of control, which is again way up here, which is also where the developing years VWAP is at round about just under 39,000. Okay, so that's basically what I'm seeing right now. The only bullish thing that I see here is the fact that we are basically above this low volume node, which is support, right? And we've bounced there already on this area here, this area of low volume, and we are toying with the idea of breaking above this high volume cluster. And like I said, if we do get acceptance there, then there's a very strong chance that we go all the way up there. But until then, it's fucking resistance until proven otherwise. All right? So I just want to make that very clear so that you guys got some context of where we are in the market, right? So on the 12-hour chart, you can see here, basically this is the daily chart now. It's not a 12-hour chart, but I've got the quarterly VWAP highlighted here. We have accepted inside that quarterly VWAP. Okay, the value area low anyway. So the quarterly VWAP is way up here at around about $35,000. Okay, that's all we'll say for now. If we move out to a different chart, you can see on the 4-hour chart, I've got the monthly VWAPs, right? Which is basically this red line. That's reset now because we're now in June, right? So the developing month VWAP is way down here, round about just under $30,000. About 30,300 actually, right? So what happened as from last week? Well, we let me just adjust this a little bit because it's going to do my head in. That range, adjust that. Right, so we did rally to the top there. We got stopped at the 32k area here, which is basically where the monthly VWAP was, right? It's also the edge of the volume profile and basically the highs of this range. We got stopped there, and eventually we just kind of broke down from it. I didn't take that short. This would have been a great entry for a short, right? And we rallied and we broke down all the way back inside of the range, right? And retraced basically these two large illiquid candles that we see here, right? These two 4-hour candles, they're basically largely inefficient, right? Largely illiquid. You can see that there. One big leg, one big leg. Well, when the price broke down, like my friend Psyops would say, it's basically reflexivity, right? So this shit is going to get retraced, and indeed it did. It did it in one candle, two candles, right? As soon as we got back inside the range, this is bearish, okay? It bounced on the point of control. It came all the way back up to the monthly VWAP, which also had confluence with this range high. And boom, gets rejected, right? So that's a short position, short all the way back down. And then somehow it managed to find support here without taking any of these stops, right? Which I was quite surprised, but it managed to find support at the point of control of the range, which also had confluence with, let me just take that off, with the value area low of the developing month's VWAP right there. Okay, so it found support there, and as a result, it's just kind of like over the weekend, it just kind of went sideways here. For me, it's this diddle in the middle. I'm not interested in trades here. I'd be much more interested in taking a trade down here or a trade up here at the highs, at the extreme, not in the fucking middle. But anyway, regardless of that, it pumped, right? The Asian session tonight at midnight, we had a nice big impulse here, and it just printed yet another inefficient candle to the upside, right? So here we are again at the highs. Everybody's fucking bullish. We're going back to 100k again, all-time highs and whatever. And we haven't even managed to get off this 4-hour order block. There's an order block here, right? Right? We haven't even managed. We've already got rejected on that 4-hour order block yet, and we haven't even managed to get above that. But everybody's screaming that we're going to fucking all-time highs already, right? Big week and all that bullshit. Regardless of that, this is what I'm trying to do here. This here is a large illiquid candle, right? Very highly inefficient candles. Look at what happens here, right? Inefficient candle gets retraced. This was also inefficient, so it gets retraced, right? This one, pump up. Inefficient candle gets retraced, right? Two smaller but inefficient candles get retraced, right? This one gets fucking retraced. Oh, well, look, this is inefficient, gets retraced, right? Large inefficient candle to the downside gets fucking retraced. Do you see my point here? Large illiquid candles to the upside get fucking retraced pretty much all the time. Why would this one? Is this time different? Of course not. It's going to be the same shit. Right? So in my personal opinion, I think we fucking dump here and this is a great opportunity for a short. That's what this chart is telling me, right? However, if we do break above this and manage to hold 32k as support, then I do think that we've got a very good chance of coming and testing that $35,000 level, right? Which is the quarterly VWAP, and also quarterly VWAP, as you can see here, right? Quarterly VWAP, and it has perfect confluence with the value area high of the developing months, of the previous month's VWAP. Right, you can see here, this is the previous month close, value area high, value area low, the close was here, right? And basically that level there, this level here, is very, very close to the quarterly VWAP here, okay, on the top right hand corner. So this is what I'm saying. If we can break above 32k, then I think we've got a very good chance to coming all the way up to 36, 35k or whatever, right? The next big challenge, if we're there, is to stay up there, right? Because we've got the mother of all fucking, look at this, right? Big high volume cluster here, right? This is previous support. This is the quarterly value area low, the previous quarter. Right, so we've got the value area low of the previous quarter, round about 37,800, 38, let's say 38,000, right? And we haven't even retested that. Yes, larger liquid move to the downside. We haven't even retested that. However, if we do break above 32k, go to 35k, then I think we've got a very good chance to coming and testing this level here, right? But this level here is a high probability trade, and yet again, another fucking short. Okay, and then it depends here how good a rejection we get. Is this going to be the mother of all shorts where we go all the way to fucking back to this range and maybe below? Or is it just going to be a little small rejection and we're just going to be sort of like hovering at resistance? We don't know that, right? We don't know what's going to happen. So we just trade level to level. The levels of resistance are, as I say, this area here, the edge of the high volume cluster. We've got the quarterly VWAP here around about 35k, and you can see that there's a little bit of a cluster there in volume as well. Okay, that's basically the targets for the upside, and I'm looking for shorts here, but if we break to the upside, then this here is also an area that I'll be looking for shorts. All right, if however we just get lower here, if we get rejected at this 4-hour level, 4-hour order block, right? If we get rejected here, then what we'll be looking for is how it reacts at the previous range highs at this level here, around about $30,500. How will it react there? Will we bounce there? That would be bullish, right? Or does it get acceptance back inside of the range? Well, if it gets acceptance back inside of the range, I doubt very much that this point of control is going to hold us as support. Well, it can, right? It can definitely do that, but it will most likely test the value area high of this range, right? Test it, come back below, probably take some profit here at the point of control because it could just bounce here like it did before, or it will just continue all the way down and take out all of these stops and go to the range lows. Okay, so that's basically what I'm seeing here. The reason I'm stalking a short up here is because we've already had an impulse to the upside. All right, you know, at the middle I don't want to trade, right? Everybody here was, oh, it's going to go down, or is it going to go up, or there's no edge in that. But now we're at the highs, right? So I want to wait for confirmation. This is a short all day long. Right? If we can break above it and confirm that this is support, then that's a long position, and I'm happy to be wrong and enter a long, and I'll be targeting 35k to start with. All right. However, if I see some weakness here and we find that this is going to be a strong rejection, I'll take a short scalp aiming to take profits here at the range highs, but I'll leave the rest of it open just in case we decide to shit ourselves and go all the way down here, okay, and potentially lower. That's what I'm looking at the moment if we go to the upside first. This is because there's volatility, right? So if we try and take the upside first, that's what I'll be looking for, unless there's an invalidation and we go above it here, right? If we get rejected here with no move to the upside, right? Rejected here, fall back inside of that range. Well, I've missed the short from the top, but it's not a problem, because usually what happens is we retest the edge of that range, and I'll be looking at this price here to enter a short position. And again, I'll be targeting this point of control in the value area low. Okay, at these lows, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be buying at these lows, right? Here, I'm interested in buying, being it at this level here, the value area low at 28,750, or even below at around about 28,390. Okay, that's the value area low of the previous month's VWAP. However, there are levels of interest that I'm going to show you on the market profile that go a little bit below that, all right? And that's around about 27,500, which is around about this level here. Okay, now I know that you guys, some of you guys, they're not really into the whole market profile, volume profile thing, and you don't really understand, but it's really quite simple. And let me just show you here. Let's do session volume profile. No. No, not the session one. Actually, it doesn't matter. I'll show you on the market profile because I don't trust the volume profile on TradingView anyway, right? So anyway, round about here, 27,500 is a level of interest, and there's a naked point of control there that hasn't been taken yet, a volume naked point of control that hasn't been taken there, okay? So I hope that this makes it clear what the plan is, right? Here, I'm looking for shorts. Down here, I could be closing my short and potentially looking for a long bounce. However, if we get back inside of this fucking range, then I'm still going to be short, and I'm going to short it again, and I'm going to be targeting this point of control and this value area low, and potentially even lower, right? The invalidation of all of this setup is basically if we break above 32k and we manage to take these highs here, right, and we start kind of rallying. Right, if we start rallying, then I'm happy to lose a little bit of opportunity and to enter late, and then I'll be targeting this little volume cluster here and potentially even higher, right, which is basically the edge of this high volume cluster here, right, 37,538, okay, something like that. All right, volume cluster here, volume cluster here. Do you see what I mean? So that's basically my plan, and that's how I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do. That's basically what I'm going to do. All right? So that's the fucking plan. Let's just hope it plays out, because I'm a bit pissed off that last week I've missed out on loads of trades. I missed this one because I was being stubborn and waiting for my level. Eventually it came to my level and it kicked me out, my stop loss, and I refused to chase it. So I missed out on all of this move. And then I took a short here. I know, then I tried to catch a falling knife, that was it. Tried to catch a falling knife here. This is all mistakes that you shouldn't be doing, right? By the way, this is how not to trade. Tried to catch a falling knife here, got kicked out, added to a losing position, and it just kept going down and down and down, okay? And then eventually it came all the way up here. I did take this short, right? And I took profit and closed most of the trade at this point of control, but that was it. It was a tiny little trade, and I was pissed off that I could have played that a lot better. But anyway, it is what it is, and it's just, you know, they're all lessons. So I'm going to stop waffling. That is it for Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. I hope you guys are clear. We're basically I'm just trading off the 4-hour chart at the moment. Of course, that you can look at it on the lower time frames, and on the lower time frames you can look at funding. You can look that we are above the value area high of the current week's VWAP. I'm not really interested in that. We're kind of ranging now at the top there. I'm not interested in that. I want to see signs of weakness, okay? And the sign of weakness, yes, you get to see it on the shorter time frames, but I usually see it on Exocharts in the form of the footprint. So let's move on to Exocharts, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's start here with the volume profile on the daily, and you can see that area that I was telling you guys a little bit below here is round about $27,500, okay? 27,533 to be exact. Okay, so there's a naked point of control at this area here, volume naked point of control, that I think that if we actually dump from here and we go and lose the range low, of that 4-hour chart that I was showing you, I think this is where it bounces here, right? 27,500. That's a possibility, right? That's definitely a level that I'll be looking for. However, just looking here at the volume profile, you guys can see that I've got a naked point of control here as well at $29,100. We've taken out the naked point of control to the upside, to the fucking dollar, right? Telling all week, last week, that we left some poor lows. We got a naked point of control below, we got a naked point of control above, and here we are, right? So it's basically at the end of the week. After that pump, we kind of dumped, right? We left a naked point of control below. I told you guys on Friday, if you don't believe me, go and look back, that we had a naked point of control above here and a naked point of control below. Well, we didn't take out the lowest one, we took out the one higher first, right? So it is what it is. We've already taken that. I'm going to show you on the session profile that there is another one around about 32k, and I think that one is really a little bit more pertinent. But we'll see what happens, right? If we get rejected here, or if we do go up to 32k. However, it does look like on the weekly volume, on the daily volume profile here, most of the anomalies have been corrected. Okay, so on the upside anyway, right? Nearby. Of course, we've got some more naked point of control above us, and that's around about $35,000 and $36,000. Okay, so if we do move to the upside, those are definitely targets. We got 35, 34.6. 36, and we've got around about $37,000, okay, which is right on the edge of that high volume cluster, which is the mother of all resistances, right there, 37,500. Okay, so that's basically what I'm seeing right now for the upside. For the downside, I've already told you 27,500 and 29,000 for the naked points of control. So moving on to the market profile, you guys can see again that the price pumped and got out of this 4-day composite value. Okay, so let me just merge this so that you guys make sense out of it. Okay, so you see this little gray rectangle that I've got here is basically just the value area high and the value area low of this composite of 4 profiles, right? Which is basically from Friday up till today. We've just kind of been ranging in a tight little range, right? So we got out of that balance area with quite a lot of speed. Right, we've left some single prints in the way. We've been one-time framing, meaning that we haven't taken the previous lows, and it's still looking bullish. I don't want to short this whilst it's still one-time framing. For me, the short position starts when I see weakness, and by weakness I mean, for example, this taking out the previous lows like this, and then even if it goes back to the high to retest, for me, that's a break in market structure. And I think that it will get up to hit about here and then just roll over, right? So that's what I'm seeing on the market profile in terms of setups, if you like. We do have a naked volume point of control here just below us at 31,200, right, that we've just left on our wake. But we took this one that had been left on the previous dump here, right? So we've taken that. And there's a poor high here, as you can see here, right? There's no excess on that one. Right, around about 31,958. So that's 32k, right? More or less. We've got all those anomalies down there, the naked points of control that I've already said. We've got the balance, we've got the single prints all the way below us, and we've even got that naked point of control at $27,000, although the tick size here is slightly different, so it's going to show a little different profile there, but it's around about 27,500. So what am I looking here now? I'm looking at this poor high now that we're up here, right? There's a poor high there that it's an anomaly and needs correcting. Additionally, on the session profile, I've got a naked point of control. This is from the New York session on the 31st of May, right? Naked point of control here at $32,080, okay? That has perfect confluence with that poor high up here, right, at 32k. So that's what I want to see. I want to see the price now kind of rotate a little bit. So let's just show you on the session one, so it makes it a little bit easier. Let's just expand this, why not? Expand all the clusters, right? And this is what I want to see now. I want to see this engineering liquidity now, right? Take out the highs, come down here, take out the lows, continue ranging like this. Eventually, it'll come out and take this, right? If we can get above this, right, if the price rallies like this, gets above it, confirms it as support and continues to rally with a short squeeze, then I'm happy to enter a long position, just like I showed you on the candlesticks. However, if it gets up to here and starts rolling over and comes straight back inside of the range, then I'll be looking at the range highs. I'll just illustrate that again. Right, so we're ranging like this, comes up here, takes that out, swing failure pattern, right, range highs, range lows, comes back inside of the fucking range. Well, that for me here is an entry for a short, and I'll be targeting these single prints and these naked points of control down here at 28,000, okay, which is basically below all of these longs. All right, that's basically how I'm seeing. I might even, yeah, I'll be definitely targeting these down here because that takes out all of these stops here as well of these guys that got long after the dump, right? So that's basically my play at the moment. I'm stalking along a short position from these highs up here. Will we get there? I'm not entirely sure, but if we can get above that 4-hour order block that I was showing you here on the candlesticks, right, that's what this will look like here. Get above this here. Can we get above 32k, or will it just kind of like leave a little wick up there and then fall back inside? If we're back inside, that is a short, okay? If, however, we get all the way up there and confirm that this is indeed support, that means that we're rally, okay? So doing something like this. All right, so that's basically my play on Bitcoin, and that's how I'm going to play it for this week. So I hope that is clear. Everybody's having a laugh. That's good in the chat. Sorry guys, I haven't even said hello yet. Hello Jay. Hello Deborah Corton. Massimo Petracca. Hello. So I don't know why you guys are laughing, maybe because it sounds like I'm in a bad mood and I'm swearing a lot. I don't mean to be like that. I'm not really that grumpy. I'm a nice guy. But it just pisses me off, the cognitive dissonance that when you listen to people saying that's it, we're going to 100 fucking K, and yet the price is just doing the same shit that it's been doing the whole of last month. Right, so anyway, moving on, let's move on to Ethereum on the higher time frames. I think everybody's clear on what I expect of Bitcoin this week. I'm just going to take the VWAPs off. Right, so again, we're looking at balance areas, right? I'm looking at these volume clusters here on the volume profile, and you can see that basically these rectangles are just highlighting the edges of these clusters, right? We're still on this purple volume cluster here, right, which arguably is actually a much smaller cluster, right? It's actually becoming a little bit more visible now, especially if you take out this area here. But with that in, you can see that the volume cluster is very much all the way like this, right? So as long as we are below this level here, $2,000, nothing's changed. Right? Even if we come all the way up to $2,000, 2,060 or whatever it is, then that's still an entrance for a short. Okay? And I'll be targeting $1,500 as the next, potentially the next target. Right? Of course, I'll be taking profits along the way, namely on this high volume node here, around about $1,800. Okay? That's how I'll be taking profits if I'm taking a short position from these highs here. Okay, it'll be a tight stop, something like this, and I'll be taking profits round about here, this high volume cluster, right? Which is basically where we've been bouncing from at support, right? So that's basically how I see panning out on Ethereum. But we don't even know if we've got enough strength to get all the way up here at $2,000. So if it doesn't, then I expect this to just do continuation and just go all the way down to $1,500. Now here, however, at $1,500, am I going to fucking short this? No. Unless I see basically acceptance back inside of this volume cluster here, which is basically this red rectangle. If I see acceptance and then a retest, and this here acts as resistance, then yes, I'll enter a fucking short and I'll be targeting the other side of balance. But at the lows, I'm not going to fucking short. At the lows, I'm going long. Because this here should act as support and this here should be resistance. Okay, so I just want to make that very clear. There's nothing's changed, it's just continuation. Okay, lower highs, lower lows, nothing's fucking changed yet. Okay, so let's move on to the 12-hour chart, see if we can find any more clues. We're still not even inside the current quarterly VWAP value area low, right? It has confluence as well with that imbalance and the low volume area around about $2,100. Okay, so that's still resistance until proven otherwise, and we're still printing lower highs and lower lows. Okay, you can argue that this is an area of support. Oh yeah, look at that, that's bounced there many fucking times. It's bounced there about 5 fucking times. I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than fucking wait for this to hold its support again. It's been battered. Right? So if Bitcoin or the Nasdaq or any of these coins decide to dump, I don't care about Vitalik and his fucking merge. This shit's going to go to $1,500, but maybe even $1,000. So don't get married to your coins. Level to level. Right? Anyway. I'm getting aggravated. Better drink some water. I've not had enough coffee. I've not had enough sleep. I'm in a bad mood. The saving grace for Ethereum right now. We are above the weekly VWAP and the previous weekly VWAP as well. That's sitting at around about $1,860. Okay, there is a high volume cluster below here, 1,860. There's a low volume area there, so it could potentially on the lower time frames we could bounce here and continue ranging sideways. Okay, but as you can see, this is a fucking mess. There's loads of little low volume areas here that will act as resistance on the way up. Okay, so there's no point of doing technical analysis on Ethereum unless you're paying attention to what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin goes on a rally, Ethereum goes on a rally. Bitcoin decides to turn over and roll over and go down, then it will drag Ethereum with it, even if Vitalik has pulled his merge out of his ass. It's as simple as that. Okay, so there's not really much to be said here on Ethereum, to be honest, guys. It really is. This continues to be resistance at $2,000. Support is a little bit shitty at around about $1,800 or $1,700 or whatever. I would not trust that as support again. This will go straight through it like butter on a summer's day. The real support is at around about $1,500 because it's largely untested. Okay, so down here I've been interested in buying. Up here I'm interested in selling. Of course, right, if we do get all the way up there, let's say that Bitcoin does break above 32k and it is on its way to 35k, then that means that Ethereum will be up here somewhere. Now, can we stay above this previous month's VWAP here, which is this low volume area, right? Can we stay above this level? Confirm that this is support. Break above this level here, $2,200. If we can, then there's a very strong chance that we'll go to $2,500 and potentially even $2,800 all the way up here. Okay, basically entering this whole area of balance and visiting both sides to firm up balance, to confirm that this is indeed balance. Okay, so it's not very clear on the 4-hour chart, but it's clearer here, right? This is the area of balance that I'm talking about. So if we break above this here, and we can confirm that this is indeed support now, basically the edge between the purple and the green at $2,000, then if that is support, then I think we've got a very good chance to retrace this whole liquid move here and go all the way to $2,800. It won't be easy. There's going to be things in the way. There's VWAPs in the way, and there's low volume areas in the way or whatever. But that's basically where we'd be heading. Okay, if Bitcoin plays ball, and if it does indeed break above 32k, goes to 35, 37k, and then starts kind of like just ranging, right? Very good chance that this will rally. But until then, I'm not seeing evidence of that. This is resistance until proven otherwise. This here is support until proven otherwise. So Exocharts, let's have a look at what Ethereum's saying. See if we can find any levels of confluence here. We've taken out a naked point of control down below here at around about 1740. Right? Now we've left a naked point of control down here at around about $1,800. And we do have a naked point of control above here at $2,050. Okay? And then nothing for quite some time to at least $2,300. Okay, so basically we've got a naked point of control above here, we've got a naked point of control above here, $1,600, right? So we've got this one here, we've got this one here that you could probably, if I change the tick size, that would probably change it. It probably got taken. So not paying too much attention to that, but I'm definitely paying attention to this one here. Right, potentially even this one around about $1,460, just below $1,500. Okay, so what does it mean? Does it mean that we go up first here, get stopped on this low volume area, and then just shit ourselves and go all the way back down there, right? Or get stuck in the range or whatever? Or can we not even get back inside of where we are now, right? So you can imagine this is a range here, right? So get that with a rectangle. This was a range here, right? Market fell out of the range, went back inside, swing failure pattern rejected again. Come back, here we are. We're testing at resistance, okay? This is a previous level of support, and it's now resistance, okay? Can we break inside of this? Great. If we can break above $1,900, we've got a very good chance to going all the way to around about $2,100, okay? Or $2,000, whatever. But until then, there's just, you know, it's resistance until proven otherwise. That's basically this low volume area here, the edge of this high volume cluster. So here we are. That's resistance, and this is resistance where we are right now. Break above this first level of resistance, we've got a very good opportunity here, meaning that we will probably be targeting, probably be targeting the highs of the range here, right? So if we can break above here like this, then I think we've got a very good opportunity to go at least to 2,150 here, right? And then maybe even rotate sideways like that. But it's not clear what will happen there, okay? What is clear is that we've got plenty of resistance above us there as well, okay? So is this going to be an entry for a short, or is it going to be an entry for a long? That's basically what is clear, level to level, right? We're at resistance, and if we break above it, then the next level of resistance, 2,150. Levels of support, well, you could argue that these levels here, $1,500, is a level of support, as there is an imbalance between those two volume clusters. So $1,500, and then if that fails, $1,000 is the next level of support, in my personal opinion, of significant levels on the higher time frame anyway, right? So let's move on to the market profile, see if we can find any clues here. Well, I can see already that we've left a couple of pull lows down here, right? We've left some single prints there. In fact, let me just correct that, because the single prints are not showing. There we go. Okay, so the single prints are between $1,800 and $1,830, or 1816 to 1830, right? We've left a poor high now here, and we've not even taken this naked point of control above here at 1930, all right? So potentially if Bitcoin does see a little fart to the upside before dumping, that could be taken out, okay? 1930 could be a good entry for a short on Ethereum, all right? So $1,930, and you'll be targeting the much lower levels here, around about $1,700, and like I said, if we fail that, then I think we've got a very good chance to going to $1,500, $1,600, something like that, okay? However, if we do break above that, there is a naked point of control at $2,050, all right? So I'm just repeating myself now. We've gone over this on the other charts, so I think that is it for Exocharts. There's no point of me just fucking going over the same shit again and again. So that's Ethereum USD, right? $1,500 is support, $2,000 is resistance, just to keep it simple, right? Break above 2,000, we go to $2,800, okay, with many obstacles in the way, but that's basically the higher time frame thing. If we break below $1,500, then we'll be looking at $1,000 for a level of support. On Ethereum BTC, let's have a look at the higher time frame first. So we've broken market structure here. This is a nice little trend line that we had all the way back from June. We broke that. We've not even retested the developing years VWAP all the way up there, okay? That's the next. Basically, we've got a low volume node here as well at 65,000 sats, which is round about here, right? Even if we come all the way up here and test this, then we still have to contend with this as resistance, okay? Loads of confluence in that area, right? So at the moment we're at 60,000 sats. 65,000 sats is going to be serious resistance because it was support, right? Support, support, support. Right? What happens when it gets up to there? Well, that's going to be fucking resistance, isn't it? Unless something dramatic happens. All right? So even if we do break above that 65,000 sats, then this level up here, around about 70,000 sats, is going to be very strong resistance. That's the yearly VWAP. That's a big trend line that we basically just broken now to the upside. And it's also the value area high of the 2021 VWAP close. Okay, that's the value area high, and there it is. Confluence with the developing years VWAP right there. Okay, so this is going to be, you know, it's very easy. We're at 60,000 sats, 65,000 is resistance, and 70,000 is resistance. Okay, levels of support. Well, we've got a few little levels of support. At the moment, we're right at resistance. We've got, you know, if any of these kind of like wicks are anything to go by, this could be a significant, could be some levels of support. The significant level of support, in my personal opinion, is this one down here at round about 53,500 sats. Okay, and the reason for that is because it is the 2021 VWAP close. Okay, so that's likely to cause a little bit of a reaction. However, you can see that on the higher time frames, on a grand scale of things, right? Let me just take this off for a minute. I'll take this trend line off and the VWAPs off, right? What are we seeing here? Right, and this is again another thing that Cyborg Ops pointed out to me, and well, he posted it and I just looked at it. Okay, so it's credit to him, but look at this. Large liquid move to the upside. Large illiquid move to the upside. And look at this. All this consolidation right above such a large illiquid move like that. Okay. So if we are to break down from this, okay, especially from this level here, right, there's a very good chance that we go all the way back down to this high volume cluster here, right, which is basically all the way down there. All right, and retrace basically the whole of this move up, okay, all the way down here basically to the value area low of the 2021 VWAP. Okay, so the key levels for me there is this one and this one to the downside, right? Key levels to the upside. Well, like I said, this low volume node here at 65,000 sats, and then this VWAP here at 70,000 sats, right? What happens after that? Well, it's very clear. Obviously, if we've broken above all these levels of resistance and we're hovering above, then I think Ethereum is just deviated to the low side, okay? We put back that trend line again, and I think that we've got a very good chance, if we hold that trend line as support, we've got a very good chance to go to the highs here and trying 90,000 sats, maybe even 80,000 sats, maybe even 90,000 sats, all right? But there's no evidence of that just yet. We haven't even passed the first level of resistance. I'm just giving you areas of interest in advance, okay? If we cannot pass this resistance here at 65,000 sats and we start rolling over, this is going to be the next level of support. And even if we bounce here, we could just be printing lower highs and just carry on down like this, okay? So don't get too excited just because there's a merge coming on Ethereum. That's what I'm seeing on Ethereum, guys. That's, you know, there's no real like other thing of interest there for me, in my personal opinion. Okay, what I do notice as well is that because this is a liquid move, right? There's hardly any fucking volume there, right? It's a thin move, right? It didn't take much for the market to get up there. It's thin. There's a vacuum all the way down here. Imagine how much liquidity there is down there with all the fucking stops and everything. Either way, this is a largely sort of void area down here of volume. So the price will travel very quickly through there, okay? Just like it did here, right? So just keep that in mind. And like Cyborg would say, this is reflexivity, okay? It's basically go up on a thin leg, start rotating like this. Once it loses market structure, it retraces basically the previous move. And that's what we're seeing here, guys. All right. So I'm not saying it's going to go down. This, like I said, it could go to resistance, but at least now you've got the levels of resistance and you've got the levels of support, which is basically this one and all the way down here if we do break to the downside, okay? But you can see clearly there's a lot more opportunity for the downside than there is for the upside, okay? And I'm happy to change my mind as long as we are above this level here, right? It's as simple as that. So moving on from Ethereum, I think I covered everything and I've been babbling on for fucking ages. FODL USDT, FODL versus USDT. This is on OkEx. And again, I'm just going to remind you guys, these are just all the altcoins, and it doesn't really matter what TA I do on these, unless you're following what Bitcoin does, then the TA for the altcoins is pretty useless, okay? We've been on a downtrend for ages. Most of these altcoins are at all-time lows, so just bear that in mind, okay? I'm trying to give you possible scenarios in case there is a turn in the market, but this is not certain, and again, I'm not a financial advisor. So in terms of market structure to the downside, I've got nothing. There is no previous price action on FODL versus USDT, okay? So I'm just going with big round numbers. To the upside, however, there's this level here, for example, right, which is an interesting level of support. Okay, we've broken that, broken below it. We've tested it here, confirmed that it is indeed resistance, and we're just kind of ranging sideways. So this level here is support, this level here is resistance, and so we rotate sideways. Okay, until we break to either side. If we break to the downside, then potentially 5 cents could be support, 4 cents could be support, and 3 cents could be support, right? If we break to the upside, large liquid move again to the downside here, as you can see. So I think that the next interesting level of resistance, in my personal opinion, if I was to enter a long upon the break of this resistance here, I'd be taking maybe a little bit of profit at these lines here, right, about 10 cents or whatever. 10 cents is a big round number, but really the area of interest is this one up here. And again, because this is previous support, and we've broken down from it. I hope this makes sense, okay? So looking at market structure as potential levels of support and resistance, okay? So that's what I'm saying. This is resistance, and these levels of support are a little bit meh because they're just based on big round numbers, okay? There's no sign of recovery yet on FODL versus USDT, so as such you can see just like big long wicks to the downside. So there's plenty of buying going on, but lots of wicks to the downside, to the upside even, where the candles just do not get past resistance, okay? Moving on to FODL versus USDC, this is on sushiswap. Now less of the wicks here, and a little bit more what should I say, a little bit more like full candles, and to me it looks a little bit easier to chart anyway, right? So again, we do have a little level there that could act as resistance, but I'm not interested in this one, okay? For me, the interesting one is this level here as resistance, and potentially this one. And the reason for this one is because you can see here there's a discrepancy in volume. There's like a shelf, if you like. And so I think that that could cause a little bit of resistance, all right? So if the price comes all the way up to here, then I think we just kind of rotate sideways. If we break above this one, then I think it's going to be a very quick trip all the way to this one. And again, because this is a largely a liquid move, right? Look at this. There's nothing there. There's hardly any volume there, right? So the price will travel very, very quickly all the way up to the edge of this high volume cluster, okay? And that will be resistance. Previous level of support turns to resistance. So it will do something like this, and then either hover at resistance or come all the way back down to there, okay? And then fill this low area of volume until we create a little area of balance, okay? So that's what I'm seeing right now. This is a level of resistance. This is the next level of resistance. Levels of support, again, I'm just going with big round numbers as we are at all-time lows, okay? So 6 cents, 5 cents, 4 cents, and so on. No sign of recovery yet, but this is a good indication that we're kind of like accepting up here, right? We're no longer just dumping in free fall, okay? The price has started like rotating sideways. That's usually a good sign, and that's, sign that things could be changing, all right? So moving on to FODL versus ETH. Just delete all these brush marks again. And I'll leave those as they are, okay? So again, we've got one big level of resistance here, one big level of support down here, right? Which is basically the value area low. The second standard deviation of the yearly VWAP, right? Which is way down here, right? So if we can break to the upside, this is the level that I'm interested for resistance, okay? If we break to the downside, this is the level of support that I'm interested in, okay? So this whole range here that I've highlighted, just get rid of that. Right, this whole range here is essentially divided into two smaller ranges, okay, with a midline in the middle. All right, if we break above this one, then we've got a very good chance of going up to here, and this will then be support. If we cannot break above that one, and this is resistance, then this level here should be support, okay? It's as simple as that. Overall, this is perhaps a higher range here, but it does look like we just want to rotate here because this is balanced now, okay? So it does look like the lower range is favorable where we are right now, okay? So this is resistance, this is support. Moving on to Binance versus USD, BNB USD. Okay, so like I showed you guys last week, and to make it easier, I've put a little rectangle here, a little purple rectangle. We're back inside it. We're still inside of this range. Okay, so at these lows, it's getting bought. At those highs, it's getting sold. So we just rotate sideways like this, right? It's just the way it is. So this continues to be resistance, this continues to be support. Break above that resistance, this one here will be important level of resistance. Break below this level of support, and I think this will be the next one down here at around about $235. Binance versus ETH. Binance versus Bitcoin next. But actually, just, you know, on the smaller time frames, if you want to look at this on the 4 hour, just before you say like, oh, he's just looking at higher time frames like this or whatever. Let me just delete all of these brush marks so that you guys get a better idea. This is a decent range to trade. Right? So you can use these lows here as your stop, right? So you put your stop loss below that. You enter at the lows for a long position, targeting the highs. That's a 4-hour trade. There's 4 times more reward than there is risk. And it's the same for the downside, right? So for the downside, when you are at the top, you just enter a short position here. You put the stop above these highs here, right? And you target the bottom of the range. And again, that's a 3-hour trade there, because the stop loss is not as favorable. But you know, if this goes sideways now for the next couple of months, why not make the money off of this, right? You can just trade this like this. This is why I'm giving you levels of resistance, levels of support. I'm not going to tell you if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down. I'll let you decide that when the price gets to the particular area. Down here, are you going to fucking sell or are you going to buy? Right? Up here, are you going to sell or are you going to buy? Buy low, sell high, right? So that's basically it. This is why my technical analysis doesn't involve telling you where it's going to go. I'll just give you the levels that you could fucking trade. Okay? So, moving on. And we'll go back to the daily chart just to make sure that we've got a decent view of it. So, okay, so we've lost, look at this, right? So, this here was holding a support, the yearly view app. Like I said, I had a little line there, which is basically this low volume area that was hoping that was going to hold a support. Well, it fucking didn't, okay? So, maybe this just wicks and goes straight back up again, but either way, it does look like we've just lost that middle line there. Okay, so I'm going to put that as orange. Right. So what's the next range that you'll be looking for? Well, if the price now does something like this, goes to the middle range, confirms that this is indeed resistance, well, you'll be targeting a short position, targeting all the way down here. Right. However, if this does a little wick to the downside, if it's just a little show of the downside and bounces here on the edge of this high volume cluster here, right? You can see basically there's a low volume area here in between 2 balance areas, right? So this here is an imbalance, if you like, right? So if we bounce here and go back straight back above this line here, well, that's a long position and you'll be targeting these levels here above. All right, so I hope that makes it kind of clear of where we are right now. Okay, so it's very clear that we've just lost that midline there. All right, but we've not reached this green line here, which is another level of support down here. Okay, so is it possible that we just kind of rotate here and sort of grow this volume profile? It is possible as well. Yeah, so that's why I don't like taking trades in the middle. However, at these highs, I'll be going short. At these lows, I'll be going long. That's my personal opinion, okay? Either way, this midline is still going to be resistance if we are below it, as is the yearly view up, and it was acting as support, like it did here so many times, right? Previous resistance, previous resistance, previous resistance here, and previous resistance here. All right, so you can see that this kind of, it does work, right? So this is now resistance as well, and if we can't get back above it, then I think we've got a very good chance of just rotating in this range down here. Get back above it, and it's great, and that means that we'll be rotating inside of that one. All right, so that's the levels you should be trading. Moving on to Binance versus ETH, BNB v ETH. Okay, so here we are, perfect retest, right? So we had a deviation above that resistance level. Okay, that red line. deviation above, fell back inside of the range, tested the edge, like almost to the fucking dollar there, right? Let me just delete these lines. Okay, this is like such an old range. We've been in this range forever, right? You can see that there. So this is resistance until proven otherwise. We deviated above, came back inside of the range, tested that edge. That's the entry for the short. If you guys paid attention last week when I did it on Friday, I told you about this. And that's the entry for a short, and you'll be targeting this yearly's VWAP down here, right? Chances are is that the price will accelerate, as you can see here, tapering volume, right? Price should now accelerate all the way to the bottom there, okay? Or at least to the midline. If we break below that midline, then this is the next level of support down here. And then we'll have to wait and see if we're going to stay below that yearly VWAP. So will it rotate down here like this? Or will it indeed come all the way down here and then just bounce inside of this here like that, right? So that's what you want to watch. But if you're already in a short, then well done. Just make sure you take profits at this middle line here, okay? Because that could be potentially support. All right, if this for some reason bounces here and gets a little bit of strength, as long as we are above this line here, then I think we've got a very good chance of going all the way up to this line and then rotating inside of that one like that. All right, same for the downside. If we break to the downside, then I think we've got a very good chance of rotating inside of this one here. Okay, so that's basically what we're seeing. A bigger range at the top, a smaller, tighter range at the bottom. So you can see here, little range, deviations above, fall back inside of the range yet again, deviation to the downside, goes up to the upside, deviation again, range, impulse range. That's what every fucking asset does all the fucking time. So there's no excuse. Too choppy is my ass. You know, you guys can trade this, no problem. Especially with me doing you the easy, you know, the hard work of just telling you, not the hard work, but you know, just giving it to you on a plate where these levels are. Anyhow, stop rambling. Purple defines the range. Okay, this is resistance here. This should be support. So we just trade sideways like this in here, right? Break above it, then this is an interesting level of resistance. Break below it, this is here an interesting level of support. Okay, there is potentially a line here, as you can see, around about $136 that could be resistance, right? Just because it's a previous level of support here, as you can see that could potentially be resistance, and we could form a little range inside of that one like that, right? But the real level of resistance, in my personal opinion, is way up there. And I'm just going to delete all this shit so it makes it clear. Okay, this here is the next level of resistance. This here is the closest level of resistance. This here is the closest level of support, and this one is the furthest level of support. Okay, so we're trading inside of this range. If we trade above it, then this should be the next range. If we break above that, then this here could potentially be yet another range. Overall, you see there's some low volume nodes inside a higher big cluster there, right? Big cluster there. So right, so that's to the upside. To the downside, that this could be potentially a range here. And if we break below that one, then I think we're going to go all the way to $50. And potentially even lower. But $50 is a big round number, so I doubt very much that we will not bounce there like that. We've already bounced off at 60, so that's what I'm seeing right now. So resistance right now is $113, and support is around about $95 for AAVE versus USD. AAVE versus BTC. Trading between these two levels. Strong resistance, strong support. Okay? Nothing really much has changed, right? We're just trading inside of this range here, highlighted in the little blue rectangle. Alright? So that's basically what I'm looking at. So 3,200 sats as support, 3,981 sats as resistance. AAVE versus ETH. Okay, this is looking a little bit confusing, so let me just delete some of these lines. Okay, so this purple rectangle means shit now. Okay, nothing. That was just a deviation above there. Right, so where's going to be the next level of support? Well, the next level of support should be here at the yearly VWAP. Right, so potentially we could see a range, a little bit of a wider range like this. Right, just like it went all the way up there. Right, so this line here means nothing now as well. It's just not being respected, that low volume area there. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off. The range for me, this here is next level of resistance. This here is the next level of support. So the range should be here. If we are to find support here, if we are to bounce. Lose that one, the next range would be all the way down here. Break above it again, break above resistance, you know, go up to the upside and break above resistance, and potentially we could see a range forming all the way up here. But that's basically it. This is resistance and this here is support, and so we trade sideways. Okay, so that's AAVE versus ETH. Moving on to compound versus USD. Okay, so we're trying to get out of this range and trying to find acceptance on the range above, right? We're trying to find acceptance in here. Well, we're kind of getting rejected there. So this range, this here is resistance, this here is support until proven otherwise. Okay, so $50 as support, $60 as resistance for compound. Okay, break above $60, then $75 will be the next level of resistance, as you can see here. Okay, and then $60 will be the next level of support, right? If we break to the upside, so we would be rotating like that. But for now, $60 is resistance, $50 is support. Compound versus BTC. Well, it does look like we have already been rejected from the top, like I highlighted there on Friday, right? This is a previous level of support. We got rejected there as resistance, and therefore this is the new range inside of this purple rectangle here. Okay, so just trade inside of that for now. Okay, simple as that. This continues to be resistance at round about 200 sats, and at round about 150 sats is support. Okay, and again, big round numbers. Just looking at big round numbers because these are all you've got. There's no previous price action to go from. There's no frame of reference, so that's all you can do. All right. So this here is support, this here is resistance until proven otherwise. Compound versus ETH, very much the same scenario. This here is resistance, this level here should be support. We bounced there already once. So let's just see if the price respects that, or if we continue to print lower highs, lower lows, and we continue to lose level after level after level. All right, either way, this should be the range. Lose that one, this will be the next range. Break above it, then I think we've got a very good chance to going all the way up to here, and this here would be the range here, something like that. All right, but we've got a little bit of a problem there with this midline that is dotted a little bit thicker because it is the edge of a little volume cluster there, so we could potentially see some strong resistance here. So I'm going to make that as orange just to differentiate it. Okay, just like that. So I hope that is clear. Moving on to BAT versus USD. BAT versus USD, the same thing that we spoke about on Friday. This is resistance, this is support, right? 35 cents as support, 43 cents as resistance, and so we range inside of here. Break to the downside, this will be the next level of support at around about 31 cents. Break to the upside, look at that, large liquid move to the downside, right? Hardly any volume there. So the next level of resistance is all the way up here, around about 60 cents. Okay, you could argue that 50 cents could also be a level of resistance. You can see they retested it there and it got rejected. Okay, big round number as well, and you can see here, if we look at this previous price action here, you can see that there's like, you know, 50 cents, there's like a bit of a ledge there in terms of volume. But I'm not sure if I'm paying much attention to that. Okay, either way, this is a very large liquid move, and if the price does decide to get hard on, it will travel all the way up to 60 cents. So that's my view of it, and that's how I see it happening, right? So range bound until proven otherwise. Break to the upside, 60 cents is resistance. Break to the downside, 30 cents is support. BAT versus BTC. Well, same thing, right? Support, resistance. So we just trade sideways until proven otherwise. Okay. Am I going to take a trade here in the middle? No. Hell no. Much rather take a trade down here, be a long, or a trade down here as a short. Okay, because the invalidation is very close and very clear. Moving on to BAT versus ETH. Okay, so previous level of support. This was resistance. Resistance. We broke above it, confirmed that as support. Boom, we rallied, right? So this is support until proven otherwise. This here has not even been tested yet. It's previous support. Here, kind of like, you know, we deviated above, right? But I expect that to be resistance. So, as a result, I do think that this is the range here. Resistance, support, right? If we break to the downside, this is the next level of support, and this level here will turn to resistance, and so we'll range in there. If we break to the upside, then I think these levels here will be resistance, and the previous level of resistance turns to support, and so we would trade like this. Okay, moving on to Link versus USD. Ooh, okay, so we are at resistance now. We've got rejected from the top of that range. So are we going to continue to range, or are we going to break above it? Okay, I explained this to you guys already. There was a blue candle there, which is basically buys. Okay, so all those buyers got trapped there when the price dumped. Okay, so as soon as the price comes back, gives these guys an opportunity to get out at break even. Everybody that went long at these levels, right? So those that get out at break even have to sell. If you're a buyer and you want to get out, you have to sell. So therefore it causes resistance and the price travels all the way down here. Okay, now the price came all the way back up here again, and it shows that there's still guys that are trapped there, or at least there's sellers willing to sell at this price. So therefore the price is still trapped within this range. Okay, and as such it will continue to do so until proven otherwise. So this is the range that you trade in. Okay, buy at the lows, sell at the highs. Break above it. This here could be resistance, and so could this one here. But again, starting to see a pattern here, right? In fact, did you know what? I'll be inclined to say that I don't even pay that much importance. Although these levels could definitely cause resistance. Okay, this is the big one up here. Previous level of support, as you can see. Right? We got tested all the way up there and we got rejected. Okay? There. So this here is an important level of resistance. These are just kind of low volume nodes within that profile that could potentially cause a little bit of friction on the way up. Okay? But as you can see here, low volume area, right? Low volume nodes. So if we do go to the upside, we could potentially rally very closely to go all the way up to here. Sorry, very quickly to go all the way up to here. But if not, if it's slow, then this here could be a level of resistance, and this one here. Okay, but in terms of range, I think it's very clear that we're just ranging now. Break it to the downside, this is a level of support. Break it to the upside, this is potentially the next level of resistance, and this one here. Okay, so if you're in a long position from the lows, right, and this just decides to take off, then I wouldn't close the trade until we're way up here, but I'd definitely be taking profits at this level and this level here. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. So I'm just considering the higher term, the higher time frame. Okay, so I'm looking at the bigger picture, if you like, as the previous level of support. This is a large liquid move, so we could travel very quickly through that. So just bear that in mind, okay? Especially if you're stalking a short position from the top here, because if it rallies, it'll rally very quickly. So you just have to keep a very close eye to that, okay? So Link versus USD, we got resistance at $8, support at $6.50. Okay, this level here is $10, so it could potentially be strong resistance just because it's a big round number. But the real level of resistance, like I said, is around about $12. Link versus BTC. Same scenario here. We tested that resistance yet again, and again we got rejected. Okay, so we continue inside of the purple rectangle there. Okay, and just range inside of here. This is resistance, this is support. Break below it, this is the next level of support. Break above it, and this is the next level of resistance, and potentially a new range to be formed up there. Okay, but for now, we're just kind of trading in here. Like so. Alright, Link versus ETH. Still inside of the range. This is resistance until proven otherwise. This is support until proven otherwise. And we just trade level to level. As you know, break to the upside, this is the next level of resistance. Break to the downside, this could potentially be the next level of support. Uni versus USD, very much the same thing. Nothing's changed. We're just ranging, right? So this is resistance, this is support. Break to the downside, we've got this level of support down here. Break to the upside, this is the next level of resistance. Uni versus BTC, interesting. So we're right at the range lows there. Okay, so let's see if this holds. If this level holds here, this is a good opportunity for a long, even though I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not telling you what to do with the money. But if you were to enter a long, I'll be targeting those highs there, and I'll be putting my stops just below these previous lows here. Okay, something like that. All right, with this one here being resistance and this here being support. Okay, break below that, then I think this range here is possible. And this here will be the next level of support. And if you break above that resistance, then I think we've got potentially entering another range here, right? As you can see there. All right, so this would be the next level of, so this will be the next level of resistance. All right, so that's what I'm seeing right now. It looks like it's a good bet to go on Uni BTC to go long right now. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do, but we're very close to the range lows. Uni versus ETH, let's have a look at how that's behaving. And again, we're still ranging, but we are quickly approaching the range lows. Okay, so again, at these lows, I expect to find support. At those highs, I expect to find resistance. Okay, break below it, this is the next level of support. Break above it, and that's the next level of resistance. So with that in mind, I think I've covered all of the coins now. I've been waffling for long enough. Just go over the Bitcoin chart yet again. This is the just in time. This is the little pump that I wanted to see. So here we are. We're challenging that level yet again, that 4-hour level. Okay, so at the moment, there's no clear indication. It's still looking like strength, but I want to see some weakness at these levels in order to short it. Okay, like I said already, a recap. If we break above this and we hold that as support, then I think we've got a very good chance to going up. The chances are, in my personal opinion, and then we just do a little swing failure pattern like that. Even if we do a little wick to the upside and fall back inside it again, that's a short, and we're going to go and fill out this larger liquid move to the downside. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but that's what you want to be. That's what you would be doing if you were trading this. Okay, you want to short at resistance and long at support. So the invalidation of that is this level here. And like I said, if we can confirm that this level is now indeed support, then yeah, by all means go long. But longing at the top here is a little bit silly. I'd much rather short it. That's just my personal opinion. So with that, I hope you guys have a great week. Be careful with the volatility coming into the week. At the beginning of this video, I've already gone over that. But trade smart, protect your capital. And if you want to ask more questions, or you want, if you've got any doubts or whatever, just join the group. There's the free Discord group for FODL in the video description. Join the group. The guys in there and myself will be happy to answer any questions and to help you out. And there's constantly charts being posted and trade ideas being posted on a daily basis. So yeah, trade smart, guys. I'll have another TA update for you guys on Wednesday, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye. See you later, Jay.